Do you feel that drinking under the influence is a problem in Bisbee?
Yeah, I do. I do. There's been several bad accidents. There was a girl about 6 months ago that almost killed herself going around the pit because she was intoxicated when she was driving. She was also underage.
Sad statistics. An August 2012 report by the National Highway Traffic Administration indicated that 839 drivers under the age of 21 were killed in drunk driving crashes in the United States during 2010. Several thousand were seriously injured, some with permanent disabilities. These tragedies are 100% preventable.
Nearly 30,000 drivers were arrested for DWI last year alone. That means 1 in 7 Minnesota drivers has a DWI on record.
The State Patrol says Farrell had been drinking. Farrell's car crashes into the scene.
That second crash is what killed the driver of the vehicle involved in the original crash and also critically injured the driver from the original crash that rolled, as well as the other person who stopped to help.
When we talk about New Year's Eve, what we all start thinking about is adults going out and enjoying it and so forth and welcoming in the next year.
Farrell was arrested for DWI, criminal vehicular operation. Marcus Enderi was killed at the scene. A bad situation made worse. Eugene Farrell is in the Ramsey County Jail.
Do you regularly drink?
I do. As a local musician and work at both of the bars here in town. Wednesday nights here, Thursday night at the Stock Exchange, and yeah, I have a couple while I'm at work.
How often do you drink?
Every probably once a week.
Once a week?
Weekends.
Have you ever driven under the influence?
Oh yeah, enough times where I belong in jail, yeah.
Have you ever driven while under the influence?
Yes, I have.
You have?
What was it like?
Can you remember?
Very worried. It was mostly because I'm offering somebody a ride home.
Have you ever been a passenger with a driver under the influence?
Yes, I have. At one time or another, not very regularly. I have my own vehicle, so I don't end up in a car with somebody that's been drinking usually, yeah.
Have you ever been a passenger with a driver under the influence?
Yes, I have.
Were you drunk as well?
We had just come from a New Year's Eve party, and we were on our way home, so I think everybody had a little bit too much that night, but luckily nothing happened.
How many DUI-related calls did you get last year?
Probably 45, 50.
Is that higher or lower than
That's
in the
actually
year?
low. That's actually
2012?
low for the Bisbee area. Other cities like Service, so they probably do 150, 200 DUIs a year.
How often do you pull someone over for a DUI?
It varies on the time of the year. Usually between our busier months, as the summer months, you can have up to 2 or 3 a week. You can have as little as none the entire month. Just kind of depends on the time of year it is. New Year's, 4th of July, holidays are a big time for people to get drunk and drink and drive and get behind the wheel. So it kind of depends on the time of the year.
How many DUI related accidents have you seen this year?
We just had one the other night. It would have been Friday night. So this year we've only had, I believe, the one, possibly another. But throughout the year you could probably look at least 10 plus accidents involving alcohol. Not necessarily DUI, but involving the alcohol portion of it.
What would you say to people who regularly drink and drive?
Well, I guess they're getting pretty lucky if they get away with it that many times, or if they're not really that messed up or whatever, but yeah, it's not a great idea. You wake up in jail and kill somebody. That would be kind of a messed up deal.
What would you say to people who regularly drink and drive?
Not to do it at all. It's illegal and it can only lead up to a little bit of trouble and costly. It can be very costly.
What would you say to people who drink and drive regularly?
They ought to take a step back and look twice at their lives. It's not worth it. It really isn't.
What would you say to people who regularly drink and drive?
Eventually you're going to get caught, or you're eventually going to get into an accident. And I would strongly urge you don't get behind the wheel. Give your keys to somebody, spend the night. Of course, everybody thinks that they're invincible when you get the alcohol in your system. Buzz driving is drunk driving, just like they say in the commercials. When you're buzzed, you're just as drunk as you would be if you were just, you can get in just as much trouble when you're buzzed as you can any other time.